We turn now to some breaking news. The victim of the shooting on West Street in Holyoke has now been identified as 38-year-old Dexter Ortiz from Holyoke. On July 9th at around midnight, police responded to a shot spotter activation. And when they arrived there, they said they found Ortiz suffering from a gunshot wound. He was taken to Bay State Medical Center where he later died from those injuries. 2 other people were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation into this incident is still ongoing.